Item 8, which is an update on our streets projects presented by City Service Director Camarena.
Thank you, Mayor Kimball. So, October 23rd, 2018, Council approved the list of streets for construction and authorized staff to bid the projects. This is just an update on where we are with that status. And with the roundabout construction being delayed by a couple of items, namely weather, we are about 30 days behind on that bidding process. But I'd like to just update you on what council selected, and so we've got just a 3-slide PowerPoint here. Excellent. We got a non-functioning computer. There we go. So there were 2 classifications of projects that were selected. Actually, that's we need to go back a couple of slides. There we go. Okay, go forward. Yeah, 2 classifications. One was rehabilitation, the other was Cape Seal. These are actually projects 7, 8, 9, identifying Hermosa Street from Elmwood to Homicide. It's identified in blue downtown. The Mirage Avenue project that tees into the Hermosa project. And then council also selected Sequoia Avenue from Tulare Road to Owner City Parkway. It's identified there. Rehabilitation being what we call a grind and remix project. The other classification of the project was a Cape Seal. You can see it in red. That a Cape Seal project is essentially a surface preparation. It's a chip seal, and then it's got a weatherproof seal product over the top of that. You can see Tulare Road, the entire 2-mile stretch of Tulare Road, Orange Avenue from Tulare North to Alameda, Harvard Avenue, a section of Harvard Avenue from Tulare South to Hermosa, the Hermosa entrance past the roundabout, and then the downtown streets that were reconstructed in 2009. So the update is that once we're closer with the roundabout construction being complete, which we're looking at this phase of the construction being complete about the end of the month, then we'll start into the final document preparation and the bid package preparation, and then sending that out to bid. Once we actually advertise that and send to our contractors, we'll update council. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
How soon will it begin?
Once we finish the bid documents and advertise, we'll let you know. After the end of March, if the roundabout is closer to complete or being complete, we expect sometime in April to have the documents completed. Bidding late April into May, and then bring back those bids to council for a recommendation award, hopefully May.
Hey, Mike, where is that street behind, I keep forgetting, the street behind the Catholic Church, in front of the Catholic Church? That you...
Oh, Linda Dispatch?
Yes. That's not on the list?
That's not on this construction list.
On this one, okay.
It's on the capital improvement list.
Oh, capital improvement, okay, got it.
So that capital improvement list is going to be reviewed by council when we go into the first rounds of budget session. I think the capital improvement program in its entirety is going to be a session item, so we can look at construction projects and the street program. But Linda Loop is already on the capital improvement list.
Thank you. Any more questions for Mike? If not, we'll move to item 9, which is an update from the Retail Cannabis Ad Hoc Committee, which we already heard some from you, but we're,
Okay. Okay, well, we really
the
want...
slide, please. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Show the slide. Thank you.
Okay. We want to locate the...
Wait, can I ask a few questions before you start? Just before you start.
You're going to ask me?
No. Okay. So I wanted to begin with the distribution. Is that included in the ordinance?
Currently, it's not.
It's not.
Currently, you could add that with retail if you think that's what you want to do.
Okay, it's not with retail, it should be with the cultivation, right?
It was not done with cultivation. That was not the desire the council had at the time. It's
It's
not
on-
part of what you've already approved.
Because I said everything. So why was distribution left out?
It's because council didn't want it.
But the cultivator.
That was the instruction you guys gave me, that's all.
Yeah, so what was on
I
there?
believe I said I wanted everything on there, but I don't, there,
It's right here.
we,
Because I think
Are you looking at a definition?
yeah, I think it's the definition.
Yeah, well, it's in the definitions, but that doesn't mean that you've approved it. You can, it's just, that's what you guys need to talk about. If you want to do it, just come to an agreement, we'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
Because I think
that
I
would be
thought
something-
distribution was something else.
Because
Okay.
I'm just wondering, why would that be left out?
I asked the question when I presented when we
Because
first
I don't
went down.
remember saying no to any of them.
I remember, I think it was Councilmember Watson said no, and you guys, it was agreed to. So what we came in with, folks, was that we had been working on for some time the growth of it, the manufacturing, and the shipping out. And that's all that council wanted to do, and the testing. And so those activities were approved for the heavy industrial district, and then testing was permitted in the light industrial district, and testing was permitted in the professional office district. And I asked about distribution, the response I got was no. And we said, because it was a tax revenue opportunity, it's coming here anyway, the state has said we don't get to regulate that.
Isn't the shipping the same as distribution?
I think you're talking about deliveries,
Yes.
not distribution. Distribution is separate.
Right.
Distribution is a separate activity, meaning
Right.
somebody can cultivate it and be
Send
actual
it someplace else.
a
Yes, that is
transport
correct.
for somebody else.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is, I think we're just getting our terms.
Semantics. I apologize, you are correct.
So what you guys didn't want initially was deliveries.
Mhm.
From a retail establishment,
At first.
that's what was
Yeah.
discussed. So distribution,
Is for the cultivation.
A wholesale transport out is allowed.
Yes.
Okay, so if we could just add that in, I think.
That is it.
That is it.
You're
Oh,
correct.
okay. I am?
You're correct.
Are you sure? Because I don't want to go back. We're going to be sending this back, and I'm going to get mad, and we don't want that. So
I
if
am
it's in there.
mistaken, you are correct.
Okay. Just wanted to- It's in there.
Yes, distribution is.
I will check, and if it's not, we will put it in. It should be in there.
Thank
Okay.
you. What about the area part of where they plant, where they cultivate? What?
Those are next.
I'm sorry, it's still a question.
Go ahead.
What about the area of cultivation? Isn't it different?
The cultivation should be
sir.
allowed in the same, we
Right.
can distinguish in any of those zones.
But what do you determine as the area area of exact cultivation or the space
You mean
area?
inside the building?
Yes.
It's the area of cultivation. So if you had like an office, that wouldn't count towards the square footage of your growing area.
And that's in there too.
Yes,
Are you sure?
that's in the tax.
Hey, I'm just saying, because,
Okay.
right, I just want to make sure, because I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forward as fast as we can.
You're
Like
moving
yesterday.
at lightning speed.
Okay. As
Okay.
long as we're lightning speed.
Okay, Rosana, let's go ahead. Local
Wait, I
retail
have a
cannabis.
question. Micro license. I did ask Bill, but I just want everybody, that way, can you explain that? And I just want to make sure that I do have an understanding of micro license. Is that beneficial to us? Is that available? Or how does that work?
What you're really kind of describing is what I would call it's almost like a craft brewery. So a micro business is you're doing all of those things. I can't remember the size limit, but it's essentially you're going to be able to cultivate, manufacture, develop your products, and get them out the door all in one facility, but only up to a certain size. So that's why I would say it's like a micro brewery. Like
Okay.
you're not going to be doing this on a full scale. I want to say it's 10,000 square feet, but I'd have to.
And that's a separate license?
It's
Do
a
we,
special license from the
special
state.
license, so do we have to worry about that? As far as they can just do it on their own, or
are we putting like a restriction? Do we have to put it on there? Are we saying we don't want that?
They would still have to fit, so there's a couple things that go through that process. Number one, they have to come to us, and if they wanted to do a micro license, it has to fit within our plan, because if they're,
It's storming out there.
as part of the license, if they're gonna do retail, they have to fit in the locations where we need to fit.
So when someone's angry.
I was like, should I run? Should I not? Okay.
So if they wanna do something like that, they still need to fit with everything else that we want them to do. But that is a thing, and it exists.
And if they do get that license, can they purchase and use on their facility? Because I want to say I read that somewhere, I could be wrong, but
Yes and no, because remember, the first thing that you have to do, they can't get a state license unless you guys approve them to do it.
Okay.
So that's like the first step. So you're not gonna have any surprises in this. When you start going along and allowing them a permit, you're gonna know exactly what they're gonna do when they apply, because they're not gonna be able to get a license for something other than what you approved them for.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we could put that on the agenda as well? Or has that been approved, or
With the
the micro
micro,
licensing?
they have not been approved.
Okay, so we could put that on the agenda as well, so we could discuss it? We could do more homework on it?
You're talking about, this is all part of retail cannabis, and you as the ad hoc committee can talk to the rest of council at this time about
You
it.
can do it now, if that's something that you like, because the micro license, again, it's from production all the way through sale. And so if that's something that you want to allow, I mean, you can talk about that, that's fine.
Well, I think we have to do a little bit more homework on that. Yeah. 'Cause is it gonna affect the regular retail business?
That's up to you. Do you want to have?
Okay, then
more
we'll
than
just talk
one?
about it later. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
You know, do you want to have more than one? Do you want to have that specific type, or do you just want it to be retail where they get their products from somebody else? I mean, that's,
Okay.
that's a decision for the council.
Alrighty. Are you done?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so what we are thinking is to locate the retail cannabis within the city's downtown area, focusing on the area within the green polygon.
Next slide.
The downtown location will promote needed improvements to the building in question and related public spaces. Locating downtown would also increase daily foot traffic, which would create benefits for adjacent businesses. Locating downtown would allow for better monitoring by public safety. Locating downtown would also inspire other businesses to locate there to capture foot traffic and the related discretionary spending. We're thinking of one retail establishment to start. Instead of creating a retail cannabis overlay zone, this approach would save money, dramatically speed up the process, allow council to easily monitor for any negative issues, ensure that the local retail cannabis market is not oversaturated, thus enhancing the chance for success of the chosen establishment. The number could be increased at some point in the future if council desired. The incentive by locating downtown, the RFP evaluation could reward higher points for locating within the CC zoning district, downtown area. Where's that at?
That last slide, go back a slide, Yuriko. That red polygon shows your downtown central commercial district, and then the next one, the green, that actually is a smaller section of that, focusing on Honolulu and Elmwood.
Okay. Locating within the blighted building, note for you, due to the potential cost and the time required for making necessary improvements, this would be a really great asset for the city of Lindsay. We would want someone demonstrating current success, having an existing successful business as a predictor for future success, requiring a letter of support from the governmental entity where the existing business is located. A solid relationship with the current governmental entity is another predictor of future success. We want the applicant list related improvements they would perform or fund and over what period of time. Desired areas of focus will be suggested by council in the RFP. Right now, we have some questions that we will be putting up for the council, and that is if we want to consider a cannabis lounge where they could do comedy shows or whatever, or even considering an indoor growth and manufacturing of cannabis or hemp within the light industry L district. And that is where?
That's not on there, but the light industrial district, we do have a zoning map over here. It's the light gray areas primarily along the packing houses along railroad tracks. I'd mentioned at last council meeting, we had an empty one on the south side of town, and we have an empty one not far from McDermott right now, and there are likely going to be others, just as a consideration.
So that's something to consider. And we could talk about it further along the line.
Very good.
I'm done.
Thank you. Right.
Thank you. Do you guys have any questions for us or anything else that you guys want to maybe hear? Or did you guys get any ideas or?
No, I just, compared to, because I only know the one in Wood Lake, what was like major differences that you might have seen?
Well, of course, that one over there was bigger.
In Silmar?
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
And they allowed them, which was surprising to me, to go ahead and grow cannabis right next door. So they're extending that. And their future plans are to have a lounge. I guess that's the upcoming thing right now, is to have lounges to where, just like, what are those lounges that they have here? The hookah lounges that they have throughout Visalia, Bakersfield, and all that stuff. It'll be just like that. So I don't even know if any of them would be interested in that, but it's something to consider.
It was different because they had also like merchandise, they had t-shirts, and they also, of course, like I had mentioned, it's a rap, there's rappers, so they're very popular. They have other brands, big brands that
Oh, the cookie one, huh?
Yeah, that they sell.
Oh, you don't like being interrupted.
That they sell, that they help out. So it was pretty interesting. They invited us back to go and, view other dispensaries that they had. It was interesting that they said in one of the dispensaries, but the one that we went to, they had bulletproof glass. The security person was inside instead of out. So that was something also to think about.
So they didn't have like here, you go in and they kind of screen you and then you go into the...
No, over there they have...
It's just open.
Over there it's open, and then they have a glass window, it's bulletproof. They put their ID in through there. They have the computer on the other side. They had monitors inside to monitor also the alley, which I also liked, for extra protection for them. So if something happens on the outside, they have an idea, what's going on. They shut down they have their plan on safety for the people who are coming in, their clients and their employees. So that was really interesting. But they had also said that they had another dispensary where it's just a location where it was more open. They had more, it was more, they didn't have the bullet.
Well, that wasn't Melrose.
Maybe we'll go to Melrose, check it out. But that was the difference between those, they just wanted to point that out, that it was just a different area. So.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
So council, this isn't done. I'm hoping that you can give me some direction on, I think time is of the essence with this, that's the sense that I've had from council. So kind of going through the list of suggestions that were made, do you want to limit it? Do you want to limit retail to this section? Is that what you want to do?
Probably the best location.
Yeah, especially in the blighted buildings.
Downtown here.
Okay. Do you want one? Do you want, how many do you want to have retail?
Didn't we talk about two? No more than two?
I think that the argument of starting with one is a good one, though.
Yeah, with the option of 2.
Well,
So not more than 2.
Not more than 2.
Up to 2. So it could
Okay.
be 1 or 2.
1 or 2.
So we're starting with 1.
Do you, what are your thoughts about having, if it's legal in California, to allow an entertainment venue such as a comedy club that could be cannabis-based. And the thinking would be, and I don't even know if they can do it yet. I see it's happening in other states, but you could go in, you would buy your product individually, you could enjoy the comedy club, it would get crazy funny while you're watching it. And
You wouldn't remember a thing, but
Did he say that they were able to buy there? No, what they were doing, I think they would, what was he saying, that they would order it from somewhere else and they would bring it to them?
I think, well, yeah, there's certain rules, but you know what, that's a different county as well,
Yeah.
and a different section, so.
the question would be, do you even want to entertain it? If you do, we'll research it and find out what we can and can't do. If you don't want it, we're not going to spend the time on it.
Well, I would say, why not?
More information?
Okay?
Yeah.
We have time on that. Let's see. Councilmember Watson had suggested something is we're going to be revising the CC zoning district if we move cannabis down here. And he had noted that some of the things, the professional office district is kind of built out. It's a small area. And we currently allow medical clinics and things like that downtown, but dental labs, prescription pharmacies, instruction studios, public uses of a cultural type, including museums and art galleries, that's not currently on our permitted use list downtown. If we're going to amend this, do you want to include these things? Thinking that if we had a full and thriving downtown, you wouldn't want to let these things, and you wouldn't want them competing for space. But you have a fairly empty downtown, and do you want to consider allowing those uses to occur there as well? It has nothing to do with cannabis. It's just you're going to be revising this. You can do it at one time if you so choose.
Can we just do that as it comes around? Because I just want to make sure this is done quickly.
That won't take any longer. That's why I'm suggesting it. It's just adding names to a list is all we're doing. We can not do it right now if you don't want to. That's fine. I'm just letting you know it's an easy process, and if you want to do it, it can be folded into this.
let's fold it in. Yeah.
And are you talking about how many, like, do we have to say how many businesses? Like you're
No,
saying
no.
dental and that and
It's
this
just-
and that?
It's literally just gonna be on moving, like, this is allowed from here to here. Like, copy and paste from one zone to another.
We don't limit the number.
That's all the work that would actually have to happen.
So right now, if a cannabis lab wanted to move into downtown and convert one of our blighted buildings, they can't. Because that's not a part of the zoning. But by doing this, they can't.
Well, no, you'd have to say that you want cannabis down there.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, just a medical lab.
A
I'm sorry.
dental lab, for
A
example.
dental lab, yeah.
Dental lab
for
couldn't.
example.
If the dental lab wanted to come to Lindsay and there's not room in the professional office district, they're out of luck. They can't locate in Lindsay.
Right.
So this would create an opportunity if someone wanted to come.
I would think, I thought that was already there because don't we have a medical person downtown?
Medical is there, dental is not.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
you
a
wanna
small
add
thing.
dental?
I'm suggesting it. I think that anything that you can do to get those businesses alive and operating, getting people downtown is in your best interest. Councilmember Watson used Cahuilla Delta as an example for helping the restaurants. You know, if they go down there, maybe they're going to want to go out to eat. Maybe they're going to walk and look into the furniture store and find a piece of furniture they like.
That's if somebody comes.
Right.
Right.
That's an option that we should go ahead and.
It's an easy option if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
And I think the final question that I had is, what are your thoughts on opening up the light industrial district and for the nurseries, growth, manufacturing, distribution? What are your thoughts on that?
So I'm against that, and the reason why is because I just think we need to, before we do any zoning changes, we need to see how it plays out in the heavy industrial. I mean, we're barely just like opening that up, so let's see if anybody moves in there. Let's look at that first before we change over our, citrus industry to pot.
Well, there is no citrus industry in Lindsay anymore. There isn't. And those are empty buildings.
Right, but so is that 40-acre olive plant. There's plenty of room there for everybody right
If they
now.
choose to do something there, then they can.
Do we have a limit
why not
on
give that
cultivation
option?
centers, just like, how we were talking about,
As far as the number of them, no, but they're limited to areas. Currently, the heavy industrial zoning district, and the mayor's correct, you could incorporate a lot of nursery and growth and manufacturing activity within the designated areas now. And it'd be fine to say, you know what, they're thriving, and we'd have to monitor water. You know, they're thriving, water's not an issue, or they have their own resource for water. At that time in the future, you can look at that.
Unlike, let's see what the issues are with the heavy
But
industrial.
we could go with hemp is it's not cannabis, right?
It's a type of cannabis, yes. But it's not what the type of cannabis that you're thinking about. But it's technically cannabis.
It's a cousin.
Apparently, it's a close enough cousin to be regulated.
It's not, is it regulated?
First cousin.
It's not regulated.
Depending on the amount of the strain, right? I mean, the guys should probably do it right.
It has to be less than 0.03%
Yeah.
THC.
See?
Right.
It's a
They're
distinct cousin.
different phenotypes of the same, like, general family of plants, but yes, they're very close, but they're very different.
Mhm.
Well, I think going with the heavy industrial first, see how that plays out. It's very simple for us to add the light industrial if the demand presents itself.
And we have water.
And we have water, right.
Like how fast? Because you know me and fast.
Lightning.
We're waiting. You know me with fast.
It's the same, it's gonna be the same process.
Yeah.
Literally moving the things that they can do from one list to another.
It's pretty easy. We've done the heavy lifting already. We
Okay.
truly have. Now it's the permitting and things, that process that we have to go
Has
through.
there been any interest in light zoning? Has anyone inquired
There
about
hasn't.
it?
You know what, the keenest interest is in retail because you can get set up the most quickly, you have the least investment in infrastructure, and you have the best and probably greatest return on your profit. To do the growing is sophisticated, it's complex, it takes a long view investment in this process. And so, yeah, I think that'll be slower coming, but I think it will come. If people can make money doing it, and I think that it probably is wise. I wanted to get that out there to let you know and let you consider it, but I think it's wise to see what happens in the heavy industrial zone. They've got a big place indoors already. You know, you shouldn't see it, you shouldn't smell it, it shouldn't be an impact on law enforcement. You get out there, if they start going gangbusters, you can direct us to open it up to light industry if that's your desire at the time.
Well, we see it and smell it right now, all through the neighborhood,
So council, what I'm hearing is you would like it to be within that green polygon and up to 2 retail facilities. And we'll do some more research on the lounge idea and come back to you. But in the meantime, we'll work on the permitting and the other things that need to happen here by an RFP.
On the RFP, is it possible to put something, how would I say? How fast it can come in and set up? Could that be a possibility? Is that already in the one that Woodlake has?
I don't know if it's in there, but if it's legal, we can put it in.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I don't want to wait a year after all this is done and then wait.
You can score it, you know.
Part of that would be their ability to perform, which would go along with, you know, their track record, their the history of their organization. You would see that in there.
Okay, we good?
Thank you, council.
Very good.
Future agenda items, council members?
McDermott X,
The financials, what do you want?
everything.
So like
I want to know if we could sell it. If that's an option, see what we could do, because we need to settle it already.
Okay, and you need to vote on that, guys.
Okay.
Council.
Right. So,
Can you throw in the contract,
Sure.
please? Because I don't have the contract, so, as well.
Motion to put McDermott X on the next council meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 And you're opposed?
Thank you.
Anything else? If not, we will move into executive session at this time.